guys and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some really hairy things that have happened to me whilst I've been out exploring various mountains. Well, two to be exact. So stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to talk to you about an amazing book that describes someone who had a slightly worse accident than I've ever had. It's really interesting, so stick around for that. The first thing happened to me the first time that I went on a winter walking course, and I was learning a few winter skills and learning how to move in snow and how to brake with an ice axe and all this sort of thing. So we were going up around Glen Coe. I'm actually not sure which particular part it was. It had a long path up on the left with like rocks and mossy areas and obviously snow, and then kind of running all the way down that section up was a kind of river running down, which was obviously being fed into a little bit by some melting snow. So if anybody actually recognises that from the description, please let me know, because I can't remember exactly where that section was. So there were some bits where you had to kind of go across the rocks, and you had to go across very carefully because there was some water running down it, and there was some also areas where the rocks were kind of green, which obviously, as you would know if you went walking and stuff, that means that it's probably going to be really slippery, it's probably going to be really mossy, especially in kind of wet or snowy conditions. So me being kind of wanting to show off my bravado, or possibly show off my lack of skill at that point, I decided that I was going to try and do it kind of faster and in a more impressive way than the other people in the group. And I managed to really impress everybody by almost killing myself. So basically I scrambled up really fast on a section, and the guide was actually standing with his feet right near the top of where I ended up at the top of this kind of bit of slippery rock. And then my back foot just moved slightly backwards onto this bit of mossy green rock, and it started to skid. I was like, it's okay, I can just lean forward, I can just get my balance back. And then the other foot started to go, and that was it. I just sort of slowly slid down this rock, and on the right hand side, as I mentioned, there's a massive river. It has areas which have drops, so essentially like little mini waterfalls, and that was right next to that river and extremely sketchy. So basically what happened was, right at the bottom of this section there was a tiny little bank of snow which caught the back of my feet and just stopped me enough to give me enough purchase to catch myself and stop myself from sliding directly off of the edge of this. And I went, oh, that happened, very calmly, because I don't know, the mind reacts really strangely when you've done something that could have ended much worse. So I was just like, okay, that happened. And I looked up at the guy and his face was ashen, and he looked like, oh, okay, I kind of wish that hadn't happened on one of my trips. And I think he was a bit freaked out that could have gone much worse. But thankfully luck was on my side, and now I try not to insert any bravado into the things that I do, because it never ends up well. So that's the first story. The second story is based in Skye. So I went there on a commercial walking trip, to climb the Munroes in Skye, with Steve Fallon's company. We had two great guides, Guy and Ken, and they were really helpful and, you know, obviously gave us lots of information. We were also quite well kitted out. We had helmets and things, and I had my own trekking stick. Not a walking stick, that sounds like I'm really old, but a trekking pole, which is basically a walking stick, but you give it a different name to make it sound more adventure-y. So this happened on the descent of one of the Munroes, and obviously on the descent you tend to be more tired, and you may be not concentrating as well, or maybe your muscles are just more tired and they're not reacting as fast as they should be doing. So there's this long diagonal, obviously not vertical because otherwise we'd be using a rope, diagonally sloping down boulder field. And there's basically like massive boulders at the bottom, and then as you sort of progress up, they're sort of smaller and smaller. So we started at the top, so the start is kind of just gravelly, and then it kind of gets to these rolling boulders that can kind of take you out really easily if you're not paying attention. So I was really aware that this boulder field could be really dodgy, and you could get taken out quite easily if you weren't paying attention. So I was really concentrating, and I had my stick, and I was like putting it clip, like really firmly on a point, and then just like moving myself down, and then next thing, clip, and then I thought this is a good system, this is working well. At one point I swapped hands, I was like, no, that's fine, that's working okay. But I just got into a little rhythm and didn't quite, I was just like clip, walk, and then I did clip, and the trekking pole just went and like skipped off the edge of the rock and just into a crack, and I was already mid-walk because I'd already decided that my stable clip was successful, even though it obviously wasn't because it slid off the rock. So I'm leaning forward, and this is bringing me forward even more. So imagine I'm doing this, and then this is gonna go in like this, and I literally do a somersault forwards down this boulder field. And luckily I had a helmet. And I sort of landed upside down, facing up the boulder field, with my arm bleeding, highly embarrassed, and very, very glad that I was wearing a helmet at that time. So that's more a story of kind of fatigue than it is of stupidity, thankfully, but still it could have ended badly if I hadn't had a helmet on and stuff, so I think that's a good message there. I remember being really, really embarrassed and sort of brushing everyone off and no, it's fine, I'm fine, just pretending that it was absolutely fine. I had this rivulet of blood running down my arm. I was like, it's nothing, it's fine. And I mean, of course it was nothing, it was just like a little flesh wound, but at the time my brain was thinking, oh, this is something, but I was like, no, it's nothing, I'm fine, look, I don't need help, I'm fine, and just like wholly embarrassed that out of everybody I was the one to pitch it forwards on a boulder field. So as promised, I'm going to let you guys know about a great book, which I'm sure lots of you know about already, called Touching the Void by Joe Simpson. As you may already know if you've read it, he had an accident that was a bit more dramatic than my accidents, and it's really, really interesting and an amazing story of how resilient somebody can be when they want to keep their life, which is obviously something that you would hope was within all of us, but the level and the extent that he went to was pretty impressive and pretty amazing. So I definitely recommend you check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going in a few days to Honister to do the Via Ferrata, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to bringing you guys some footage back from that, and possibly a couple of side quests as well if we get time. So that's going to be on here soon, along with some more stories of fun past adventures, and anything else that you guys like the idea of, then please give me a comment or send me a message and let me know what you would like to see. Thanks again for watching, and hope to see you soon.